Hey everybody, welcome back to Arkham Tuesday. So we're going back in time today to the animated series, Two-Face Parts 1 and 2. You want to follow along with your HBO subscription, get your timestamp to 0, and press play now. So Two-Face is one of those villains that I feel like always gets done dirty. He always gets like the really poor treatment in those adaptations. Look at the Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah, a lot of good development in the Dark Knight, and then killed him off. Well, they could have easily saved him for part three. I don't know. I don't remember if Chris Nolan was planning part three at that time, but I don't really know what the point of making a Two Face was in that film. They're just gonna kill him off. It was like the thing about the Nolan movies is that they're all about that grounded crap, making it realistic or whatever nonsense. It doesn't make sense for comic book movies because Batman and Superman they fight freaks and monsters all the time, and then are realistic. So I always thought that was the wrong approach to how to handle these characters on the big screen. And Harvey Dent in the animated series had a lot of development. I always liked the big bad Harv thing. You're talking to the wrong Harvey. Now they cast Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent in Batman '89. Then he was recast with Tommy Lee Jones. I guess we'll always wonder what he would have been like as Two Face. But I think it would have been phenomenal. Because they made Two Face into a joke and forever. So I'm like, yeah. I guess after Batman Returns, they felt they had to tone it down. Two Face is not a jokey character. I don't think he was in the '60s series. Probably would have been considered too dark back then for the that wacky tone they were going for back in the day. There's one thing people really get wrong about Two Face is the split personality. Just like the Phoenix in the X-Men universe. They always get it wrong. Like the Phoenix is not a split personality. It's an entity that takes over her body and it's drawn to her power. Whereas Two Face, it's not that tricky to get Two Face right. The spewers haven't really done it yet. They even had him in the newest Batman cartoon. Then they killed him off because Oscar Gordon wanted to tell him what to do, and she got him killed. And even the Arkham universe, They had that one Arkham Knight trailer that opened with a Batmobile chase and chasing Two Face in the city. I kind of wish that's how a game opened, honestly. I think he's mentioned in Asylum. You see him in the city for a little bit, but doesn't do anything in the city. You go out there, Miss Catwoman, towards the end of the story. He's always underused, no matter what version we're talking about. Always underused. So Rupert Thorne is like a Wilson Fisk or a Lex Luthor character in the Here Comes Big Bad Harv. Give me that five. I know what it's like to suppress, I guess, your darker half. All it takes is the right push, like Joker says in Dark Knight. Madness is like gravity. All it takes is a little push. And so, in those cases, Salvatore Moroni is known for, in a way, creating Two Face. In this universe, it was Rupert Thorne who organized just about everything. He was like the kingpin, like Luthor type of character in the animated series. And Batman crosses past him quite a bit, actually. This isn't really one of my favorite episodes in the animated series. They don't really bring Two Face back that much because it's tough to bring him back with different plot points that don't come off as cheesy. It's like I keep saying, like the Joker is the one that always comes back over and over again, and it just gets ridiculous. Or people don't believe this, but Batman actually has a lot of enemies. Like we see Onomatopoeia in the latest series, which is kind of awesome. Never thought I'd see that character in animation, considering how much of a D-lister he is. Onomatopoeia. I'm still kind of geeking out about that, actually. I'm like, wow, you put onomatopoeia in a Batman cartoon. And Bruce and Harvey are supposed to be friends in this the animated series. Because look at the Dark Knight. They don't really do like the whole he's a different person thing, just trying to make him crazy. Like the further you get into that story with Harvey Dent, it just seems to slowly lose his mind. And then he gets the acid and somehow survives getting his face burned off. Which is when all that realism crap went out the window. Because you can't be in the grounded universe and have your face burned off. You know what I'm saying? Just can't do it. So this is the part where we meet Big Bad Harv. I've always been a fan of Two Face. I just don't think people know how to write the character. For me, it's the same thing with Superman. It's like people just don't know how to write the character. I don't think this. I don't know if it's Leslie Tompkins. It might be. I don't know. Like I mentioned in Gotham Knights, I'm like I kind of wish they had more villains in that particular game. Two Face, dare I say the Joker. There's just so much things they could have done with that particular series. So how do you mean it? And I always liked how this was a personal story for Batman because Harvey's his friend. Dark Knight, not so much because they were more like rivals because Bruce still wanted to get with Miss Piggy in the Dark Knight for some reason. I just can't understand. Like he was determined to save Harvey no matter what in this two-part. I always liked that Batman always had compassion for his enemies. Something that Terry doesn't really have in Batman Beyond. I'm not saying that they made Terry darker than Bruce, but he doesn't have the same moral code that Bruce had in the original series. Something that's always been essential to the character. And that is, I wish they had played on that a little more in the live action adaptations. Like it seemed like Bruce was friendly to Harvey Dent in Dark Knight in particular, but honestly, I don't think Bruce really gave a damn about him. It's like I keep saying that Batman sends his enemies to Arkham Asylum because he believes they can be reformed. Like villains like Mr. Freeze and Harvey Dent, Two-Face. He believes they can be reformed, so that's why he keeps sending them to Arkham Asylum. Why he does that with the Joker, I have no idea. Now, Joker in the cartoon isn't as crazy as it usually is in comics, but still, you think you make an exception for that maniac. And one would think beating a kid with a crowbar to death and shooting his friend through the spine would be like the last straw. But no, he just beats his ass, sends him back to Arkham, and he's out the next day. And like there was another version of Harvey Dent in the Telltale games, season one, I believe. They had this Harvey Dent. He got turned into Two Face, and you could choose to save him or let him get smashed with this lantern or whatever. This part is funny. Only one problem: you're talking to the wrong. Give me that fire. Get him, Harvey. Give me that fire. Thought is mine. All of a sudden, Harvey Dent's got like brute strength and stuff with his split personality. Give me that fire. It's like the one of my favorite lines in this episode. Give me that fire. Look at that. I was always amazed at the fact they survived that explosion. It was like an explosion in this version, whereas like in Dark Knight, there's also an explosion. Got half his face burned off, and he still survived. I like how in the latest cartoon, Batman goes after Rupert Thorne. He just basically sends him a warning that he's watching him. Too bad he didn't ask for a mirror. Oh yeah, I guess he does. You see what I have to work with you. As a plastic surgeon always said, if you gotta go, go with a smile. Honey, you'll never believe what happened to me today. He's like, I always felt bad for Harvey Dent in the animated series. But it's like, past these two episodes, you had five. Like, past these two episodes, they don't really do that much for Two Face. He always felt like he always got like I don't want to repeat myself, but I always felt like he got like a bad deal. I guess always comes down to the writing, but I think these two twins are supposed to be Tweedledee and Tweedledum. But like, I'm also wondering if they could have Harvey Dent in the Matt Reeves universe. I don't know if that'll really work in that universe. I personally want to see Mr. Freeze. It was like Bruce was always haunted by the fact that he couldn't save Harvey in the animated series. I kind of wish they played on that in the Dark Knight movies. But they weren't really friends, so I'm like, I guess this is Bruce's nightmare. Reminded me of why he couldn't save his parents. Yeah, he's dreaming. I think that's what motivates him to try and save Harvey. The guilt of his parents and all that stuff. Like I mentioned, I kind of want to see that. I like to see this in the Matt Reeves universe. As far as we know, Bruce doesn't really know Harvey Dent yet. They haven't introduced him yet in the Batman universe or the Matt Reeves universe. Like we never really seen a Batman that actually vows to avenge his parents. Like he usually vows on their graves to avenge them. Like we see him vowing to save Harvey in this. Rupert Thorne sent to his goons to manipulate Harvey's fiance. Eh, she really went outside with those glasses on. They tried to do the race thing with Miss Piggy in the Dark Knight. I don't think it really worked. They didn't need her in there in that particular film. Those might have been the worst recasting I've ever seen. Like in Telltale games, Selena Kyle is, I don't want to say dating Harvey Dent, but she's definitely using him. She hooks up with Bruce in the second or third episode, I think it is. Yeah, it's definitely Tweedledee and Tweedledum. If I had to guess. This is one of the first times I see the Bat Cycle. Like, I always loved that Batman had compassion for his enemies. And he just sees Harvey as a lost cause, not as a lost cause. He believes he can save him. I really like that aspect of the character. And again, I mentioned like people always think Batman's just heartless. True, he cares in his own way. Like, and when that Superman happened, Batman was there. No one saw him, but he was at the funeral of Superman. He ain't gonna be giving no speeches or nothing. He was there. They were best friends, apparently. Why do these criminals bother sometimes? It's like even in the end of Batman Forever. Sorry, you forgetting something, Harvey? They're coined. I guess of course you're right, Bruce. You've always been a good friend. And then lets him fall to his death. Yeah, such a great friend. You only have two minds about everything. Yeah, I don't want to compare Bruce and Terry too much, but Terry doesn't have the same compassion for his enemies that Bruce does. I don't know if that's part of the writing or maybe the fact is they just wanted to make Terry very different from Bruce, which is fine, I guess. That's why I felt like he came across to me as more of a Jason Todd type of character, except Jason Todd wouldn't really make quips. It's just not the character. But it's like, even in Arkham Knight, they could have done something, I think, more with Two Face. Like, he robs a couple of banks, and then you take him down really fast, which I was a little shocked by, honestly. You know, they really could have had like a game war or something. They could have made him more of a central character. Maybe not central, but like they could have done more with him, I think. Looking back on those. I don't know. I'm just one of those comic fans that just gets really sick of seeing the Joker all the time. What's happened to your mind and your feelings? I mean, the character kind of makes sense with his his background as a district attorney. I just, I guess I just didn't know what to do with him outside of these two episodes because he didn't show up that often in the animated series. Certainly not as much as the Joker, that's for sure. I don't think anybody has as much screen time as the Joker did. Like the name of this cafe, I kind of used the idea of this in one of my books. Inspiration from the animated series, naturally. We were expecting Peter Pan. Give me that file. Round and round we go. That's I don't understand why they actually used actual guns in the animated series. There it is. This is where they got their Death of Batman Forever. Tossing all the coins up. And I think Batman had the real coin. And he tosses it into the fountain at the end of the episode. Like my favorite part of this episode, Batman's talking to Gordon. He's like, "Do you think there's any hope for him?" And his line is, "Where there's love, there's hope, Commissioner." And he tosses coin into the fountain. He's like, "This is for you, Harvey." I always loved that little touch. Like something you'll never see really in Batman Beyond. Terry just doesn't have the compassion that Batman that Bruce has for his enemies. I always love that little touch. It's one of the things that makes the animated series timeless.